Hello and welcome back to the Reapers. Today we're in our Su-27 and we're looking at close range air-to-air combat. So first things to say, this video will cover the Su-27, the Su-33, the J-11A and the 3 Mig-29 variants. Although these planes are not identical, they're similar enough that I can show them in one aircraft and we won't really lose any functionality. So air-to-air combat can be split into two categories. One is BVR, beyond visual range, so that's combat outside of 10 miles, and then within visual range combat, that's any combat within 10 miles, and this can be referred to as ACM combat. Today we're going to be looking at ACM combat. Now, as a prerequisite for this video, I'm going to assume that you've already seen my video on the flanker HUD and HUD symbology, and on the radar and the electro-optical system. Both of those videos are in the Su-27 YouTube playlist. So first we'll look at the weapons. Let's call up the armament screen. Extremely simple. We've got pylons 1, 2, 9 and 10. Regards missiles, we've only got one missile available at the moment. It's an extremely formidable missile, highly maneuverable, equivalent of the AIM-9X from NATO. It has a passive IR sensor, and regards range, it can be an absolute maximum in head-on conditions at high altitude of about 10 miles, and the polar opposite of that, down low on the deck, chasing a target about 2 miles. As well as that, we have our gun. It's the same gun in all of the aircraft that we're covering. The only control of it is we have the ammo counter here. It is a high caliber, single barreled rotor cannon. High explosive shells and very powerful. So we'll just arm up with 4 R-73s for now. While we're waiting for that, let's have a look at the controls we're going to be using today. So the modes we're going to be interested in are this: vertical scan mode, bore sight mode, helmet mounted display, and longitudinal missile aiming mode. We're going to fire the weapons with weapon fire. We're going to lock the targets with target lock. As ever, change weapon will cycle between weapons, and that should be all we need. So let's arm up and get in the air. Okay, we're in the air now. We've got a lovely bunch of targets in front of us. On our ordnance panel, we can see that we've got 4 times R-73 selected and our internal gun, obviously. Okay, we're in the cockpit now. We've got several targets in front of us. Our HUD is just in the basic navigation mode. We've got our radar turned off. You can see we've got no ILL symbol here. Our electro-optical is turned off. We've got no EO here. So to use these close-range ACM combat modes, we do not have to have the radar on. It is optional, though we can have it on. But we must have our electro-optical on, and it will turn it on for us as soon as we select the right mode. So what we're going to do is go into our first ACM mode, which is the 3 key, which is vertical scan mode. So unpause, 3, and that's done a few things for us. So it's put us in vertical scan mode. As well as that, it's turned on our electro-optical system, because that is the default to be used in ACM combat. It's not turned our radar on. We can turn our radar on if we want, and why don't we just do that? So I press the I key, and we've got the radar on as well. It's also chosen a weapon for us. Now we've only got one weapon here, but we could have several types of weapons, and it's chosen an R-73. It will always choose a short-range weapon for you if you go into an ACM mode, if one is available. And the most suitable one is obviously the R-73. Other than that, it just tells us here that we are in vertical scan mode. So what that means is that when we press the target lock button, it is going to confine its search to between these 2 vertical bars here. So all we've got to do is put our target between the bars and press the target lock, and we'll get a lock. And by default, it's going to be an electrical optical lock. So I'm going to unpause, I'm going to press the target lock, and boom, we got him locked. Needless to say, it has to be within range for this to work. Generally, it has to be within 10 miles. Sometimes for the EO to get a lock, it has to be closer than that, depending on the heat source, how hot the target is. In this case, the target is quite cold. So we have some symbology there. But before we do that, I want to show you how else we can get a lock with the vertical scan mode. Going to unpause, we're going to start again, and we're going to move the target above the HUD and try locking there. And you can see that it still can get a lock. It's confined between these 2 bars, but in terms of elevation, it goes all the way up. I think up to about 60 or over 60 degrees. So it's essentially a dogfight mode. Whenever you're having a dogfight, you're going to try and keep your target somewhere between your nose here and your lift vector here. So it's going to be on this line that I'm tracing down here. And that is what we are scanning with vertical aiming mode. So now we've got him locked. We've got extra information. We've got a ranging bar here. And on this range scale, we get 2 markers. We get R max here, which is the maximum range of our missile, bearing in mind the current aspect of us and him. And we also get a minimum range marker down here. Remember, the missile has to have time to fuse and whatnot, and that's down here. So to fire, we have to have our target between these 2 markers. And on the top of our scale here is 5 kilometers. The scale will be chosen automatically depending on the target range. We have the IFF symbology here. If it shows an A, it's a hostile. If it shows an AFR, it's a friendly. Beware, it will only work, this IFF, if you have your radar on, as shown here. If I turn the radar off, it will still show an A, but it's not actually working. It just shows an A by default if the radar is off. Something to be really careful of. So to get the IFF in this mode, you have to make sure your radar is on, even if you flash it on for a second or two. ATK, this is telling us that we are currently tracking a target. So next we're going to take the shot, and I'm going to show that you can fire from quite a high deflection angle. So I'll aim, let's say, down here, and then I'll shoot the target, and we'll see that the missile will bend up and track the target. So we can fire with quite a high deflection angle. You see, all the way down here, we've still got launch authority, still got launch authority, still got launch authority. And let's try firing there. Press and hold the fire button, and you can see it's tracked all the way up to hit the target. Kaboomy. And that off-bore sight shooting function is really useful, especially if you're in a dogfight in which you're going to struggle to keep your target within the HUD. It's usually going to be up here somewhere towards your lift vector. So next, let's repeat the exercise, but with the next ACM mode, which is bore sight mode. So we're going to unpause. We're going to turn the radar off just to show that we can operate without the radar. We're going to press the 4 key to bring up the bore sight mode. So very similar to the vertical scan mode, except all we're scanning, our scan is confined within this bore circle here. So all we've got to do is place the target within the bore circle, press the lock, and there we go. So it's a good mode if you've got lots of planes all around you, friendly and hostile, and you want to ensure that you get the right plane to lock, then bore sight mode is your friend. Other than that, everything is the same. The range scale, the launch authority, the missile selection, the IFF, and the scan mode. Let's take him out quickly. Kapion. Kaboomy. Next, we're going to go to our next mode, whoa, hello, which is 5. Let's press that. This is our helmet track mode, and it's awesome because it's the bore sight mode again, except I can track it with my head, with my track IR in this case. And I can go all the way out to the sides, about 60 degrees deviation in any plane here, to the limit of the IRST EO sensor, which is I'm circling here. So the good thing about this, again, if I was in a dogfight and he's at some weird askew angle, like, you know, that, I couldn't get him with vertical scan for some reason, I would get him like thus, and I could fire him off bore sight like so. I'd have my launch authority as long as I'm within about 60 degrees. And this functionality we're showing at the moment is why the flanker and the other variants that we're looking at today are so lethal in close range combat. It's just absolutely lethal. Next, we're going to look at mode ACM mode 6. We're going to press that. Ping. Okay, now you'll notice that it's turned the EO off and the radar is still off. So how is this working? Well, it's no longer using the sensors aboard the aircraft. With longitudinal aiming mode, it actually slaves to the sensor on the particular missiles that's selected. Now, I don't know which one select. Oh, yes, I do actually. That one there. So that one there, we're now using the actual sensor in that missile rather than our own onboard sensor. And it's currently caged or locked to the bore sight, so essentially the bore sight is there. So all we're going to do is maneuver ourselves so this cross is over the heat source of an aircraft, and then we will get a tone, and then we can fire. And it's as simple as that. We don't have the ability to fire off bore sight like we did with the other planes, and I don't really know why you would want to use this, but if for some reason your other modes couldn't work, then this is how you could fire on a bore sight mode. So let's just unpause. Let's highlight the hostile, and you can see that we get launch authority and a firing tone when we get the bad guy on our bore sight cross. Now, if we were to move away from bore sight, so if we put the nose down here, then we lose our launch authority because this sensor here is caged to our bore sight, and we can get it again like thus. Now, I'm not going to shoot this guy straight away. One thing I want to show is the kind of maximum range we've got with this particular hostile, the A-10. So I'm going to come off the gas and I'll report back when they're a few miles away. Okay, I'm now about 13 miles behind the hostiles. You probably can't see them, they're tiny specks, but I'm trying to lock them now with my vertical scan mode. I can't lock them anymore. I can turn my radar on. I'm trying to lock them and I still can't get them. So the absolute maximum is about 13 miles, but generally 10 miles is accepted. Okay, now I'm going to close back up and we're going to look at the gun modes. Okay, so we've restarted the exercise. We're going to look at the gun. I forgot to show you to select the gun, we need this control here. So we're going to put ourselves in an ACM mode. Let's just choose bore sight mode because we can. Next, we're going to select our cannon, and you can see that we've got our gun selected. Now, there are two modes to use this. In locked mode or in non-locked mode. So in non-locked mode, we will not have an EO lock on the target, we will not have a radar lock on the target, so we've got no guidance information. Instead, all we have is an old school inertial based gun funnel here. You can see how it changes as I maneuver my aircraft, and the name of the game is very simply to place the target so that his wingspan touches the edge of the gun funnel, and then we fire the cannon. You can see that we've selected the cannon because we've got gun here and we've got the ammo here in quarters. We've got 4 quarters of ammo left. Now this is really designed for a target that's maneuvering. These guys, I've told these guys not to maneuver, so it's not really much use like this. Oh, and I should say we've also got the wingspan size of the aircraft set here. Now we can actually change this number here. I believe it's the wingspan in meters with right control and numpad plus and numpad minus. I'll do that now just quickly. I have no idea of the wingspan of an A10, but let's just put it to 10 just because we can. Yeah, and I'll have a quick pop at him, but I don't suppose we'll hit him. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm not much use with these gun funnels, and really they're designed for a target that's maneuvering. So instead we'll have a look at the track mode. Now the track mode we can use, like the missiles, either with a radar lock or with an EO lock. So let's just show it with a radar lock. So I'm going to turn off my EO, I'm going to turn on my radar, I'm going to choose a helmet mounted display, I'm going to lock him up, turn off my EO again. So now we've got a lock on him with our helmet mounted display. We've got our radar on only. Now we're going to select our gun. Our gun is selected, and now we have a tracked aiming mode for the gun. And it's a very easy system. You have the target illuminated here with the circle, and we have our gun pipette here with ranging information on it. The simple name of the game is to maneuver, so our cross here is over the target, then we pull the trigger when he's in range, and we are within range because you can see this counting clock around the outside has started unwinding from the top. As soon as it started unwinding, we are essentially in range. So let's give that a shot, shall we? So you can see that he's getting away from... Ah, that's handy. You can see that he's getting away from this now. But we are within range still, so we're going to give him a quick burst of rotor gun. Got him! Let's try again. Got him again. And you see now that he's super close, our ranging clock has almost completely unwound. And we are down to three quarters of our ammo. Okay, so that's using our gun with locked and unlocked mode. We could have done that with EO. Instead of the radar, it would have been essentially exactly the same. And showing our 4 ACM modes to lock targets within 10 miles to employ either missiles or the gun. I hope that helps, and see you later.